Om Shanti. Good morning, Diamond Morning, and happy Sadhguru Day to all of you. Baba's Murli today is of the 15th of February 2024. In the essence, Baba says, sweet children, the Father has come to change thorns into flowers. The Father has love for the thorns as well as the flowers. He makes effort to change the thorns into flowers. Question. What are the signs of the children who have imbibed this knowledge? Answer. They perform wonders. They are not able to stay without benefiting themselves and others. When they are shot by the arrow, when they are shot by an arrow, they become destroyers of attachment. And become engaged in doing spiritual service. Their stage is constant, stable, unshakable, and immovable. They never perform senseless acts. They never cause anyone sorrow. They continue to remove the thorns of defense. Om Shanti. You children know that the Father is a big lever clock. He comes at the accurate time to change thorns into flowers. It cannot be any less or more, even by a second. There cannot be the slightest difference. You sweetest children also know that at this time, this is the iron-aged forest of thorns. Therefore, those who are to become flowers should feel that they are becoming flowers. Previously, we were all thorns, some small and others big. Some cause a lot of sorrow, and others cause a little sorrow. The Father has love for everyone. There is the song, I have love for flowers and also for thorns. Whom does he love first? Very interesting question. Whom does he love first, flowers or thorns? He definitely loves the thorns. He has so much love that he makes effort to make them. He makes effort on them and changes them into flowers. In fact, he comes into this world of thorns. There cannot be any idea of omnipresence in this. There is the praise of just the one. Praise of the soul is sung when that soul takes a body and plays his part. It is souls that become elevated and souls that become corrupt. Just as a soul adopts a body and performs actions accordingly, it is said whether a soul is one who performs sinful actions or one who performs pure actions. It is the soul that performs good or bad actions. Ask yourself, the question to ask ourselves today, am I a golden aged divine flower or an iron aged devilish thorn? There is a vast difference between the golden age and the iron age. There is a lot of difference between deities and devils. Those who are thorns cannot call themselves, what they cannot call themselves, those who are thorns? Flowers, excellent. Cannot call themselves flowers. There are thorns, there are flowers in the golden age and they don't exist in the iron age. This is now the confluence age, when you are changing from thorns into flowers. After the teacher gives a lesson, it is the duty of you children to refine it and show it to the Father. In that you should also write. If you want to become flowers, then consider yourselves to be souls and remember the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, who makes you into flowers. Your effects will then be removed and you will become Satokrita. Baba gives you an essay, and it is the duty of you children to correct it and get it printed so that all the people can then think about it. This is a study. Baba is teaching you this unlimited history and geography. In those schools, they teach the history and geography of the old world. No one knows the history and the geography of the new world. So this is a study and also an explanation. To perform a dirty act is senselessness. Then it is explained that you mustn't perform those vicious acts that cause sorrow. There is praise of the Father, who is the remover of sorrow and bestower of happiness. Here, you're learning that you mustn't cause anyone sorrow. The Father gives you the teaching, and the teachings constantly continue to give happiness. This stage is not created that quickly. You can claim your inheritance from the Father in a second, but it does take time to become worthy. You understand that the inheritance from the unlimited Father is the sovereignty of heaven. You explain that Bharat received the sovereignty of the world from the Palokit Father. All of you were the masters of the world. You children should have that happiness inside you. It is only a matter of yesterday when you were the masters of the world. People speak of hundreds of thousands of years. They say that the duration of every age is hundreds of thousands of years. Whereas you say that the duration of the whole cycle is 5,000 years. There is a lot of difference. Only the one Father is the ocean of knowledge. You should imbibe the divine virtues from Him. People of the world continue to become Tamopradhan day by day. They continue to learn more and more defects. Previously, there wasn't as much corruption and adulteration. It is now increasing. You're now continuing to become Satopradhan. And how we are continuing to become Satopradhan? With the power of remembrance of the Father. Just as you come down, so you have to return. First of all, you have the happiness that you have found a Father. Your connection is forged, and there is the pilgrimage of remembrance. Those who have performed greater devotion would have a greater pilgrimage of remembrance. Many children say, Baba, I am unable to have remembrance. The same thing happens on the path of devotion. When you sit down to listen to a religious story, their intellects wander. When they sit down to listen to a religious story, their intellects wander in other directions. The one who is relating the story watches them and would then suddenly ask them a question. What did I just ask you? Then they would look confused, whereas others would instantly be able to reply. And of course, those who would reply would be those who were paying attention, and their intellects wasn't wandering here and there. So Baba says back to the Murli, not all are the same. Although they're sitting here, they don't imbibe anything at all. If they were to imbibe this knowledge, they would show wonders. They would not be able to stay without benefiting themselves and others. Although some have a lot of happiness in their home, they may have a mansion and a car, etc. Once an arrow hits them, that's it. She would tell her husband, I want to do this spiritual service. However, Maya is very powerful. She doesn't allow you to do that. Why? Why do you think Maya would not allow her to do that? Baba says back to the Murli, because there is attachment. How could she renounce all of those mansions and all of that happiness? And of course, that happiness is a perishable happiness. Oh, but what about all the happiness that you experienced at first? Some belong to big families of multi-millionaires and multi-millionaires, and they renounced everything and came here. Their fortune shows that they don't have the courage to let go of everything, and there's those who have the attachment. They're caught up by the chains of Ravan. Those chains are of their intellects. The Father explains, oh, but you are becoming worthy of worship, masters of the world. The Father guarantees you that you will never fall ill for 21 births. You will remain ever healthy for 21 births. Baba is giving us this guarantee, so he's giving us such an aim to look forward to that we will forget the other things and take the benefit he's giving us. Back to the Murli, Baba says, you may live with your husband, but simply get permission to remain pure and make others pure. It is your duty to remember the Father from whom you receive limitless happiness. By remembering him, you will become Satopradhan from Tamopradhan. This is a matter of great understanding. There is no guarantee for the body. At least belong to the Father. There is nothing more lovely than he is. There is nothing more lovely than he is. The Father makes you into the masters of the world and says, become as Satopradhan as you want. You will see limitless happiness. Baba has the gates to heaven opened through you mothers. He has placed the urn of knowledge on the mothers. Baba made the mothers into trustees. You mothers look after everything. He had the urn placed on them through this one. And then those people wrote that the ocean was churned and the urn of nectar was given to Lakshmi. You now know that Baba is opening the gates to heaven. So why should you not claim your inheritance from Baba? So why should we not claim our inheritance from Baba? Why should we not become Mahavirs and be threaded in the rosary of victory? The unlimited Father takes you children into his lap. For what? For what will he take us into his lap? He says, in order to make you into the masters of the world. He sits here and gives teachings to those who are complete thorns. He still loves the thorns. That is why, because he loves the thorns, what does he do? This is why he makes them into flowers. You invoke the Father to come into the impure world and an impure body. You know what we say to him? Leave your land of nirvana and come here. The Father says, according to the drama plan, I have come into the world of thorns. So, he surely loves you. How could he make you into flowers without him having love? You now have to change from Iron Age thorns into Golden Age Satopradhan, masters of heaven. It is explained to you with so much love. A Kumari is a flower, and this is why everyone bows down to her feet. When she becomes a thorn, impure, she has a thorn in brackets, impure in brackets. She has to bow down to everyone. So what should you do? You should become such a flower that you remain ever in flower. A Kumari is viceless. even though she has taken birth through vice, just as sannyasis take birth through vice. They get married and then leave their homes and families. People then call them great souls. There is a vast difference between the masters of the world of the Golden Age and the great souls of the Iron Age. This is why Baba has said, ask them the question. The question is, are you an Iron Age thorn or a Golden Age flower? Are you corrupt or elevated? Since this is the kingdom of Ravan, it is a corrupt world. It is said that it is the devilish kingdom, the kingdom of devils. However, none of them understand themselves to be that. When you children ask these questions tactfully, they will understand by themselves that they are lustful, angry, and greedy people. Write these things in the exhibitions so that they feel they are Iron Age thorns. You are now becoming, what are we becoming? Flowers. You're now becoming flowers. Baba is ever in flower. It's like saying Baba is ever in bloom. Baba is ever in flower. He never becomes a thorn. However, all the rest become thorns. So the flower says, so what the flower will say? I am changing your thorns into flowers. So Baba is the flower who's saying that. Therefore, remember me. Maya is very powerful. So, do you want to belong to Maya? The father pulls you to him. And what happens after that? And Maya pulls you to her. This is an old shoe. A soul takes a new shoe at first, and then he becomes an old shoe. At this time, all shoes are tamoprata. I make you become like velvet. Velvet is very beautiful and first class, so he makes the soul become so first class and pure. Therefore, souls because souls are pure, they receive velvet bodies, no defects. That is in the Golden Age, of course. There are many defects here. Look how beautiful the features are there in the Golden Age. No one can create those features here, even though they may get visions, they still cannot do it exactly as create those features and pictures or images as we would be in the Golden Age. Dr. Murli, the Father himself says, I make you so elevated. Whilst living at home with your families, become pure. There is the fire of yoga to remove the rust that has been accumulating on you for birth after birth. Baba says, your sins will be burnt away by this. You will become real gold. You are given a very good method to remove the aloe. And what is the method to remove the aloe? Constantly remember me alone. You have this knowledge in your intellect. A soul is very tiny. If you were any bigger, what would happen? If the soul were to be bigger, Baba says, it could not enter. How could he enter? Doctors beat their heads so much to be able to see a soul. However, they cannot be seen. So soul cannot be seen with these physical eyes, but it could be experienced, it could be understood. Back to the Murli. You can have a vision of one, but there is no benefit in having visions. For instance, if you have a vision of Vaikuntha paradise, what is the benefit of in that? Only when the old world ends can you become a resident of paradise. You have to practice yoga for that. The Father explains, children, I first have love for what he has love for first? For thorns. The Father is the ocean of love to the maximum extent. You children are also continuing to become sweet. The Father says, consider yourselves to be souls and see others as brothers, and all criminal thoughts will then completely end. Your intellects will cause mischief, even with the relationship of brother and sister, and you will therefore have to see all as brothers. There is no consciousness of the body, but there to be the awareness or that attachment, but there to be that awareness or that attachment. The Father only teaches souls. Therefore, you too must consider yourselves to be souls. Those bodies are perishable, and so you mustn't attach your hearts to them. In the golden age, you don't have love for them. You have heard the story of the king who conquered attachment. It is said, the soul will shed one body and go and take another. He has received his part, so why should you have attachment? This is why Baba also says, remain cautious. Eat halwa even if your mother or wife dies. Promise that no matter who dies, you will not cry. Remember your father and become Satopradhan. There is no other way to become Satopradhan. Only by making effort will you become a bead of the rosary of victory. You can become whatever you want. How can we become whatever we want? Baba says, by making effort. The Father understands that you will make the same effort that you made in the previous cycle. The Father is the Lord of the poor. Donations are made to the poor. The Father himself says, I enter an ordinary body, neither poor nor wealthy. Only you children know the Father, whereas the rest of the world calls him omnipresent. The Father is remembered. The Father is establishing such a religion that there will be no mention of sorrow there. On the path of devotion, people ask for blessings. Here, there is no question of receiving mercy. Whom would you bow down to? He is just a point. You can bow down to, Baba says, you can bow down if he were something larger. You cannot bow down to something so tiny. To whom would you put your arms together when you pray? all of those signs of the path of devotion will disappear. To put your palms together, become part of devotion. Your brothers and sisters put their palms together in front of one another at home. People ask to have a son in order to make him their heir. The child is the master, and this is why the father says, Namaste to the children. The father is the children's servant. Acha to the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children. Love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bapdada. The spiritual father says, Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say, Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence Pradhana points to put into practice for today. First point, do not attach your heart to perishable bodies. Become a conqueror of attachment. Promise that no matter who leaves his or her body, you will not cry. Second point, become as sweet as the Father. Give happiness to everyone. Do not cause sorrow for anyone. Do the service of changing thorns into flowers. Bring benefit to yourself and others. Baba's blessing for today. May you have pure and positive thoughts for yourself and for others. And transform anything negative into positive. Baba explains, in order to remain constantly powerful, simply remember two things. Have pure and positive thoughts for yourself and for others. With pure and positive thoughts for yourself, you can transform anything negative into positive. Having pure and positive thoughts for yourself is connected to having pure and positive thoughts for others. If there are no pure or positive thoughts for yourself, you cannot have pure and positive thoughts for others. Pay attention to both of these things at the present time, because there are so many problems and people cannot understand you just with words. So use your pure and positive thoughts and give them vibrations. And they will then change. And Baba's slogan for today: play with the jewels of knowledge, virtues, and powers, not with money. Play with the jewels of knowledge, virtues, and powers, not with money. Om Shanti. So Baba wants us to become flowers. We have to make that effort. He is making us into such beautiful flowers. And so let us be available for this. Om Shanti. You have a very powerful day in Baba's sweet remembrance.